Events of this afternoon evoke memories of the monumental collapse of 8 banks, including Greenland Bank, Cooperative Bank, and the International Credit Bank in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Most of the depositors lost their savings. The central bank then placed stringent conditions to stamp out vices like insider lending and introduced a raft of charges to improve corporate governance. Yet in 2012 and 2014, two banks, the National Bank of Commerce and Global Trust Bank, had their licenses revoked despite increased supervision by the central bank.
The action we have taken today on Crane Bank is to restore our confidence that there is a regulator there who is looking after the depositors' interests. And by Bank of Uganda going in, we are, taking control of the public interest.
With the taking over of Crane Bank, which is perhaps the largest grassroots imprint amongst the indigenous banks, banking experts fear that this could snowball with dire consequences. However, the central bank says that the banking sector remains robust.
We look at the financial indicators which point to our conclusion. The capital position of all the banks is very high. When you look at the aggregate total core capital of the banking sector is at 19%. Yet we require 8%. So generally, in general terms, the banking sector is very strong.
Yet, as BOU attempts to paper over the cracks, many questions remain abound about how a once blue-chip bank with large profit margins could find itself swimming against such a financial tide. Could it be the ailing economy or perhaps borrowers who fail to pay back huge sums of money? Bajenda says the bank played its role effectively in the interest of the depositors.
Crane being a domestic systemic important bank, that's why we have taken this decision. It is the third to, fluctuate from third and fourth in terms of deposit viability. And so its failure would have caused, a ripple effect in the banking sector. It is highly connected with other banks. It has deposits worth, before depositors removed their money, it had 1.3. Now at this time, it had 1.1 trillion.
I asked whether the state of the economy, with a depreciating shilling, high interest rates, and reduced foreign direct inflows, was affecting the banking sector.
We are mindful of what is happening globally and locally here. That's why we have reduced the central bank rate to stimulate growth, demand, aggregate demand, that, the business people, the private sector can grow and stimulate demand, There are so many things we look at. The inflation rate is low, as you know, and therefore we have to look at where is the risk. And so, as far as interest rates are concerned, we are forward-looking.
Critics argue that the Crane Bank is just one of many financial institutions that are struggling with accumulation of bad debt affecting their capitalization. Analysts believe this could have a trickle-down effect. However, the bank remains optimistic.
Since 1990, when did we just have a bank failure? It's recently. And of course, what the Bank of Uganda does not manage banks. Ours is to ensure orderly exit. And that's what we did in terms of Global Trust. We did a purchase and assumption transaction where no depositor lost money. But remember, in the previous closures, depositors lost money. If the government hadn't come and used taxpayers' money, it would have been worse. But now, no depositor loses money ever since we started, rigorous supervision. Therefore, we will not stop banks from failing. We are not managers, but we shall ensure that if a bank has a problem, it has an orderly exit.
Once touted as a model of discipline in the region, the latest fault lines will push the central bank to evaluate its reforms to underpin prudence in commercial banks.